Hello, everybody. This is the Daily Sporting, and today we're going to be covering the top 5 players that you need to own for your fantasy football season. All right, I have Ricky on here today covering some of these topics with us. And Ricky, what are you looking forward to as we get into this episode?
First, I want to let everyone know we're going to be giving each of them we're going to give 5. So really, it's going to go out being 10 players that we believe are going to help you win your league. I think if you draft any of these players that we're going to give you, whether it's mine or Steve's, I'm pretty sure it's different. We have different ones. But I think if you look at, the bottom of the screen. So we all have different ones. You're really going to get 10 on this one episode about how to win your league. Sleeper picks or picks that maybe people are overlooking. This is what this episode is going to be, and I think you're going to enjoy it.
Awesome. And Ricky, what you were saying before about some of the fans, I mean, I know the fan outreach has been great, and I'm really loving the support. But you were saying something that you wanted to tell the fans today?
Oh, just go out here and subscribe, share this video, and put the word out. We're in Facebook groups, a lot of fantasy, a lot of connection through there, a lot of talking with people who are doing kind of the same thing we're doing. Just a couple of people that believe that we have a lot of knowledge in fantasy. We've been doing it for more than a decade each. And I believe, go out there, subscribe, share, and let everyone know.
Awesome. All right, guys. So let's get into this one. So we're talking about the top 5 fantasy players that you must own. And like Ricky said, we have different lists. And because some of the players that Ricky has on his list were on my list, and I took them off once he put them on his list because
you changed it from yesterday.
Yeah, I had about 8 guys that I was looking at. Right. But I let the ones that you kind of like had covered, I just replaced them and filled them in with other guys.
Well, it's good. So we give more,
Right. Because like you said,
I also want to say, when we say must own, like not the obvious ones, like you must own Michael Thomas, you must own Patrick Mahomes. I mean, we all know that. We all want to get that, right? But unless you have a certain pick in the first round, you're not going to get these. So we're more talking deeper in the round, or even, people that should be up and are not at that position.
Yep. And I think one thing that I really was looking at, I was looking at some of these positional battles where we're looking at like a glut of players that are there where it's like, there's like 4 or 5 or 6 players that you're really debating about taking in these certain rounds where all these running backs are close or all these wide receivers are close. And I'm picking out the guys that I really feel like can really bust through the ceiling and that I'm really targeting in these rounds when you're looking at these larger player pools. But more about the players that we actually have listed here, Ricky. And who do you got first?
My first is, and this one is really not that big of a surprise, but I believe still is being a little underrated or undervalued in the draft. I think he could be anywhere from a top 5 running back, and that's Miles Sanders from the Eagles. I think last year I drafted him. I really thought by the 4th week he was going to take over and just go off. That's kind of what happened at the end of the season, a little, weeks late. So that really hurt me last year. But him at the end really showed me what I thought was going to be all season, which would have been a lot of catches, long runs. I mean, he's fast. Again, up to the coaches, Eagles coaches' strategy. He gave it to everybody, so he didn't really take over till towards the end. I think he showed what he could do. I know he's still, he's going to be really the main guy this in the offense this year. So I would choose Miles Sanders coming up first. That's one of the guys I think, running back wise, it's hard to say, but he's up there, to me, better than Chubb. He's better than, a lot of people hate to say Josh Jacobs. He's better than, I'm choosing him over Gurley. I mean, I have him up there with the Camaras, Kamara, I might even choose him over Kamara at some point. I know a lot of people that say that's crazy. I know.
That's crazy.
But probably not, but I'm just saying I have him up there.
Miles Sanders' ceiling is probably what Kamara is on.
I'm just worried about what happened last year.
He was hurt, and he played with injury. That makes me want him even more. But Miles Sanders, I'm not gonna lie to you, he was on my list. He was someone that I took off only because Ricky had. If you've been watching or following us for any period of time, this whole page has been very high on Miles Sanders from the jump. He's shown that big play capabilities in Penn State. And as you know, I have Hammer on here a lot. And me and Hammer have a big debate going on now between who we like more, between Jacobs and Sanders. I'm very heavy on Jacobs being good, but I think Sanders could be great.
Yeah.
And that's why I have Miles Sanders higher than Jacobs. That's why I bet Miles Sanders over Jacobs. But my first player that I have on my list is Jacobs.
So all that to say that you have Jacobs as
Jacobs, I also think can be really, really good. And when we're talking about the difference between Miles Sanders and Jacobs, I don't think it's as great as people think it is. No. I really think that Jacobs this year, from everything that we're hearing at a training camp, is that they're looking at putting him to close to 60 catches for the year. Yeah. And if he gets his catches up, which is one of his biggest knocks or downsides to him, I think that's going to significantly increase his value and make him a steal in that back half of the second round.
I mean, how many catches
over a guy like Derrick Henry? Like I would take him over a guy like Derrick Henry. I would take him over a guy like Drake. I would take him over a guy maybe over Chubb. You know, these are all guys that I'm looking at that are consistently going higher than him that I think he's going to probably outperform.
I'm not choosing him over Henry. I'm choosing him over Chubb. I'm choosing him over Chubb.
Yeah.
Who's the other guy you said?
Drake from Arizona.
I'm choosing him over Drake. I think they have too many offensive weapons. Derrick's right. He's not going to be what he was last year. Last year,
and I think they're going to run it a lot there. I think.
I'm just saying. I think he has more of a downside to go than not more than Chubb. Like I'm choosing him over Chubb. To me, Chubb, I'm not big on.
I think Chubb is sliding in a lot of drafts or in a lot of rankings right now because of the fact that the OC not the OC, but now the head coach from Minnesota, or the OC from Minnesota, that's the head coach in Cleveland, has basically said he could see Kareem Hunt and Chubb splitting time. Where we're almost talking about a 50-50 share. You cannot have that out of your first running back. You're done in the water. You can't have your number one stud.
And to be honest with you, Hunt is dynamic. I mean, what he did in Kansas, I know the offense and the scheme and everything else, but he was really good. He can take that job away. It might not even be 50-50 anymore. It just might be Hunt and then Chubb in the background.
I do believe that Chubb is at this point probably a little bit better running back, but I also know that Hunt is a great pass catcher, which is going to, especially in PPR leagues, be someone that you're going to want to target. Last year, he finished in the top 20 running backs for the period of time that he was playing. So he's really, really a dynamic player. So now at 2, Ricky, who are you looking at as your number 2 guy?
And again, so far as guys I drafted last year, or guys, I think I picked him off the wire, and
I did
Terry McLaurin.
Yeah. What? McLaurin.
Yeah, McLaurin. I thought he was great.
Yes, he was.
He catches everything. He goes through every defense, whether it's press, coverage, whatever it is. He's going through it. I forgot. I saw the stats. It was something ridiculous. 78%, 76 against the other one. So it's almost like there's no defense really where to cover him. So he catches everything. The only word I have is Dwayne. Haskins. So again, that he relies on him to take at least some sort of steps forward. He can't be the same. He can't regress. So we're hoping he's going to step forward. With him stepping forward, Terry's going to do better. He did, to me, again, what he did last year with all these quarterbacks. He had 3 different quarterbacks going in, and he still caught his balls.
See, the big if here is Haskins.
That's the big Haskins. But even with 3 different quarterbacks, who do you have? Who's the other 2 quarterbacks? What are the 2 idiots that, or the other 2 guys that were there? Not idiots, but the other 2 guys.
He had some journeyman quarterbacks throwing him the ball for the most part.
That's what I'm saying.
But here's my thing about it. I don't know enough about what Haskins is going to do. How long am I going to be able to keep Terry on my team? And with them not having enough,
Terry got his points anyway, Steve. You're acting like Terry didn't get his points.
Terry was getting his points, but
he was getting his points. He got his points with all this confusion, and now he has a full year with a guy that he played with.
Yeah, but here's the difference.
No,
last time. But here's the thing: when
their relationship is a big thing.
When you got him last time, you're getting him off the waiver wire. I got him last year off the waiver wire. Now you're telling me I'm going to spend a 4th round, a 5th round pick on him? That's a lot of question marks for a 4th round pick.
No, I mean, again,
would you take him as your number 2 wide receiver?
I have my number 2 receiver.
Yeah, because if he's in the 4th, 5th round, you're possibly looking at your number 2 receiver, maybe number 3 receiver. Would you have your number 2? Number 3? Number 3
is 100%.
Yeah,
3 is 100%.
I don't know if I can have.
I got to see the rest of my team.
Yeah,
if I got him at 2 and I'm set at running back in the tight, like it really depends. Like if I'm set there, then I'm happy with him at number 2. It just you're telling me I'm all over the place.
Let's say, all right, it's 4th, 5th round, so that means you pulled off a running back, a wide receiver, a tight end, and now
I probably put off 2 running backs. Was it 5th round? 5th round, maybe two running backs.
So you would take probably a running back in the 4th round over Terry and start looking at Terry in the 5th. So the earliest you would probably take Terry's like the 5th round.
I think so.
5th round. Okay, I think that's a fair place to take him. But
yeah, I'm taking 2 running backs probably before I take Terry. Terry's not going to be my second receiver probably with only 1 running back.
Yeah,
that is more not going to happen most likely, unless you tell me something crazy happens and Patrick Mahomes falls all the way to the 4th round or something crazy.
Yep.
Which maybe I will, because having Patrick Mahomes in the 4th round is not.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes won't get to the 4th round.
I know, that's what I'm saying. As I said, something.
I mean, we can hope. We can hope that would be interesting.
No, I doubt he goes to the. I mean,
you know, if Patrick Mahomes is going in the 4th round, then the running backs are so gone.
No. If he's going in the 4th round, but still, for him to fall in the 4th round, that's a whole different story. We don't want to get off track, but that's a whole different story. Because 4th round, if I get Patrick Mahomes in the 4th round, I am ecstatic about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I think he has way upside. I think he already showed you with what he had with minimal offensive. Well, a quarterback that really didn't. Now he has 1 full year with a guy he already played with. I just think it's going to be different. You don't have the same coach. You know what I'm saying? Everything is going to be different for there in Washington. There is a lot of hectic that's going around with the name, and then you have the owner. And he's, you know, it's sometimes it's a circus over there. But I think Terry showed last year what he could do, and that's my guy. Agreed.
And then for me at number 2, I have a player that used to be one of my favorites to draft in fantasy football. I won a championship in a league that I'm in with this guy, Ricky, and having this guy on my team as my number 1 pick, as the number 1 pick, because he was that elite when he was in his prime. And I'm talking about Le'Veon Bell. I'm talking about the Jets' Le'Veon Bell. And let's put it like this, people are scared of him now. Now he's going like, I want to say like the 5th, 6th round. Like you're probably looking at like Terry McLaurin and Le'Veon Bell on the draft board at the same time, around the same time you're picking. And Le'Veon Bell, let's put it like this. I know that he's going to be getting more catches because we know that Adam Gates is trying to schedule and facilitate more workload for him.
If Le'Veon Bell is in the 5th round and I only have another running back, I'm choosing Le'Veon Bell. If I have a chance there. If I only have 1 running back. If I have 2 running backs, really depends. Still, that is he really falling that far down?
Yeah, I mean, I did a best ball draft and I got him right after I got.
To me, that's a drop. I mean, how many running backs? All the running backs are gone.
No, I'm seeing him go in like the 4th round, 5th round. I got him in a 10 team. He's my 3rd running back. He was like they were saying, like a lot of people have been fading him.
That's a very good 3rd running back. That's a very good 3rd running back.
But like my first pick was Michael Thomas. Okay. My 2nd pick was Adams. My 3rd pick was James Conner.
Okay.
My 4th was David Montgomery.
Okay.
And then my 5th was Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, no, that's not.
Yeah.
Again, that's not.
It's a 10-team best ball. But I mean, all the running backs had gone off the board so
that's
early.
what I'm saying. But that's what I said in the beginning. If you're telling me Le'Veon Bell's in the 5th round, a lot of the running backs are gone.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like
for you to get Le'Veon Bell in the 5th round and all the running backs, that's a steal to me.
That's what I'm saying. That's why to me he's a guy that when I'm going into drafts now, I'm targeting him because I know so many people just don't like him, that think he's washed up, that don't like the situation.
And he's a starting running back. There's no
starting running back. There's nobody really behind him. He's now talking about him getting more volume.
Yeah, if he falls to the 5th round, that's to me.
Like this is why I'm saying Le'Veon Bell is becoming a must-own player for me, because even in the 4th round, the 3rd round. In the 3rd round, I'm happy with Le'Veon Bell. Let's be real.
Yeah, I think I am happy with him in the 3rd round. Yeah,
I get him in the back end of the 2nd round. It's like I have the 1st or 2nd pick.
Right. If I'm in a 12-team league and I'm in the 2nd round and I get him back, I'll take
him. Like if I'm in the back half of the 2nd round, early part of the 3rd round, I'm happy with Bell. But I'm seeing him go maybe 4th or 5th round. So he's someone that I'm very much loving. And as we get deeper and deeper into the season, it's going to be deeper in draft season. It's someone that I'm going to be watching very carefully because I love his upside. I love his potential, especially because of the volume. Like volume is key, especially at running back. And if he's going to be catching passes and being the dominant player that we know Le'Veon Bell can be behind a rebuilt Jets offensive line, where they did spend some money and some draft capital to get some new players on that offensive line.
Yeah.
I think that I'm willing to give it a shot that late.
Yeah, no. Again, I think he's a good pick, especially if you're talking 4th, 5th round. Like we said, we would take him in the 3rd. Again, another guy
in the 2nd, beginning of 3rd. That's where you think. I think he.
I thought he was going to have a great season last year. I drafted him last year.
Yep.
But again, it seems like I'm going to be a year late on all these guys breaking out. But this guy I think is going to break out this season. Is
one quick question before we go there. Okay, so if you're looking at the draft board and you see Austin Eckler, you see Todd Gurley, you see Leonard Fournette, and you see Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, I'm taking Bell over them.
You would take Bell over all of them?
Yes.
And who would you take?
The only one I would debate is, I'll be honest with you, is Gurley, because I think he could have a comeback season. I think he's refreshed. I'm not looking at the others. No, I'm not looking at Fournette. Definitely not looking at Fournette.
Not Eckler?
Eckler, he can break out, but I got to see more from him with nobody else. With nobody. I mean, he did play a lot of the season without.
Last year, he finished in the top 10.
Yeah, no. Again, I'm with you, but again, no quarterback, no Phillip Rivers, new scheme,
interesting
coach, everything. I'll be honest with you. Gurley to me is just injuries. I don't think he's completely. He's not just lost what he had in LA. So again, it's all health. To me, if you're telling me he's healthy, and the Falcons, are going to use him correctly,
I agree with you.
Gurley can break out, but again, I'm choosing Bell over everyone there. Gurley's the only one I hesitate.
Interesting.
I do like Gurley.
Interesting. And you know what's funny? That's like the 11th, 12th, and 13th running backs. You're putting Le'Veon Bell near the top 10 this year.
Yes.
And this is why he's a must-own player, guys. Yeah. He's falling everywhere.
If he's falling out, I wasn't aware he was falling that much, but if he is,
he's below all those guys in rankings. All 4 of those guys. That's why I was like, even if we go round-wise, let's go player-wise. And Austin Eckler is usually about the 11th running back. And I'm seeing, Fournette, Gurley, all these guys ahead of him. So I think that's a good one because you would, like you said, you would take Le'Veon Bell over Gurley in this situation.
Yes, but that's the only one that hesitates.
Unless Gurley got a clean bill of health, but then again, you're worried about him breaking down.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I've heard that before because players get healthy.
Yep.
It's just how long do they last healthy?
Yep.
And I don't know how serious his injuries. I think Gurley could come back, but again, yeah, that's the only one I would hesitate. Eckler, I just got to see one full season of him. I might just miss out this year. Then I guess if he does amazing, then I'm one of those guys that missed out. But I just have to see a full season with everything new, how he's going to do.
I agree. And I think that's the one variable that a lot of people have to factor in is that it's a new quarterback, a new situation there.
Yeah.
He could just pick up and run with it like he did last year and beast out. But again, it's a variable that you have to factor in, and when you're this high, those things matter. Yes. All right, so now we're going back to number 3 here for you, Ricky. And I see you have a tight end here, and it's a guy that I'm very interested in. He's someone that's on my list. Tell us a little about your number 3 guy.
So Hayden Hurst, he's the backup. A lot of people don't know he's the backup of Mark Andrews, right? So was he the backup of
Oh, bro, man, you put up a guy and you didn't even realize, huh? You got to do a little more legwork on that one, baby. He got traded to the Atlanta Falcons.
No, I'm saying he was a backup.
Oh, I thought you said he is.
No. I'm saying he was the backup to Mark Andrews.
Yes.
And basically, again, like I said, no one knows him because Mark Andrews balled out, right? So again, no one knew about Hurst, but he basically was a backup who didn't miss anything. I think he had 2 drops. He's now traded, like you said, to Atlanta Falcons. No more Hooper, right? So he's now traded there. Now he has Matt Ryan. So he went from a team that is running the ball, right, heavily, to now someone that is passing the ball heavily. They used Hooper really well. It got him his contract that he wanted. So now he's in Atlanta. I think with Matt Ryan, we always said if he's on. He's going to throw the ball. That's a big target. It's a guy who doesn't miss. That's one of the tight ends that I think people have to take a real deep look. And if he's there, he could be real. 4, 5, 3, maybe even TD.
Roughly, where do you have him as your tight end rank?
So as I said, I mean, I have him up there. I think he could be a 4 or 5 tight end.
Well, I mean, I
mean, again, tight end there's more depth in tight end now than there was in fancy years before, I believe.
I'll put it like this. I did tight end with Hammer on one of the last episodes that we had posted. If you want to check out that episode, definitely can go check out our YouTube page. Yeah. We have the tight end rankings 1 through 15. But what I'm going to say is this. Hayden Hurst, for me, I have him probably ranked 8. Hammer had him about 6. I have him like top 5. I said I wouldn't put him in my top 5 only because my top 5 would consist of 1 being Kelsey, 2 being Kittle, 3 being Ertz, 4 being Andrews, 5 being Darren Waller. I would probably at 6 maybe think about him. I'd probably like a guy like Evan Ingram or something like that's upside. Tyler Higbee has decent upside. These are all guys that are in the conversation with him that I can start understanding. But I would say probably off the board, he's probably at best 6 just because Darren Waller. I mean,
I'll be honest with you.
You would take him over Waller? If you have Waller on the draft board and Hayden Hurst on the draft board,
I'm going with Hurst.
Really, even after the year that
I'm going with Hurst after I'm not.
Even though Waller outscored Hooper last year.
What happened?
Waller outscored Hooper last year.
I had Waller. We both had Waller.
Right. I'm saying you would take Hayden.
Yes. Over Waller. I think Hurst is going to could be even better than what Waller was last year.
I am calling Hurst the new Waller, but I don't know if I would take him over Waller.
I mean, if you're calling him Waller,
bro,
but I'm saying he could be better than what he was last year. Bro, they throw now. He was Mark. No one knew who he was. You just named Mark Andrews in the top 5 tight ends, and he was the backup to that guy. No one knows who this guy is. Atlanta knew. Give credit.
I get you there, but you're telling me if you have Waller on the board and Hurst on the board, I just like this.
I'm gonna blow your mind right now.
I think there's less options on the board in Oakland. There's not as many good receiving options. I know that Carr loves throwing him the ball, and especially in PPR, Waller just would get like 5, 10.
Again, I'm with you. I'm not debating that you don't have a good that you're not telling the truth. I'm just saying, to me, I'm just taking the chance on Hurst that he's going to be better than Waller. And one thing before, because I'm going to blow your mind, I'm worried about Ertz.
You're worried about who?
Ertz.
So you're worried about him, but you would still take him over Waller.
No, not Hurst. No, Ertz from Philly, because you named him as like your 3rd tight end.
Who's my 3rd tight end? Ertz? Really?
Yeah.
With
Did
all
you name
with no wide receivers? How many wide receivers do they have this year?
I think Philadelphia's going to be different. I think they drafted well. You know they got Ruggs. I think this is going to be different.
Philly didn't get
Ruggs. Not Ruggs. Who they get the speedy receiver? Who is the receiver they got?
The
Philadelphia
Vegas
Eagles
got Ruggs. Vegas got Ruggs.
No. Who did Philadelphia?
They got the kid Jared Rancor or whatever like that. That's blowing up. They have Ward. Right. But I mean, last year you had Alshon Jeffrey, you had a bunch of other receivers, but there's so much targets there now.
And who's the other tight end that they have? What's
got it?
Yeah, he's real good. Hey, keep playing around and he's gonna take over Hurst. He's that good. Yeah, Steve. Go is real good, man.
I'm not saying no. I got it in my top.
Yeah, he put up numbers and you give him a chance.
Right.
Look, Hurst to me again. He's Hurst. I get it. My only thing is, how many seasons is this now? It's not that many, is it?
He's put up a couple of seasons, but last year, so not last year, but the year before last year, he put up probably the most catches ever at tight end.
I get it, but that was 2 years ago again. Not
right. Well, I mean, but this year with them not having as many options at wide receiver, that's why
I'm just worried about him. I'm worried about that. I could be worried about that offense or how in both ways because with the coach he's unpredictable. We showed already. Miles Sanders was a clear cut, but I get Howard got his touchdowns, but to me Miles Sanders was a clear cut, right? So, but to the coach that didn't mean anything for the first 7 weeks. I mean, it wasn't until like second half or towards the end that he started putting him in. So to me, again, with all his new little weapons he has now, I don't know if that's what's gonna transpire with Hurts anymore.
Absolutely. And I just want to do a little bit of a gold nugget for people that are watching this. As we're recording this episode, we have the Nets and
my God, I didn't see it till right now.
And right now, Nets have an 8-point lead on Portland, and if Portland loses, they're not going to make the playoffs.
Mine I think is back because mine says 10.
Dame just popped a 3, but that's a little bit of a side note that I couldn't resist because it's gonna get juicy in this fourth quarter for basketball here, guys.
They can't lose this game, Steve.
Well, we'll be talking about that later. For my number three pick, I'm also going with a person on the Atlanta Falcons because they pass so much. I'm going with the young boy Calvin Ridley out of Alabama. This year, he's going into his 3rd year as a wide receiver. We've seen him already show flashes of brilliance. We know that Matt Ryan likes to throw the ball. We know that defense isn't that great. We know that's a really tough division. We know Julio Jones is a mile of consistency is going to draw the number 1 DB every time. And what that means is that this year, this guy is primed for a breakout. I think he's going to be able to produce and get way better numbers than you're normally seeing from him.
Right.
I think that this is the year that he finally starts to take that step.
This is breakout to what, a superstar receiver? Like, yes. In what level time?
Yes. I think that now
levels of who?
Like we're going to start seeing like what we could see out of him is probably like what we would see out of Mike Evans normally. Like he's going to put up what Mike Evans.
Mike Evans does.
Yes.
Okay, so a guy Ridley, because Mike Evans' numbers is huge, right?
Yeah.
Ridley put up numbers last year.
Yeah, but
66, 7 TDs.
He's gonna take another step.
Excuse me, 63 receptions.
Evan, like he's gonna get up to 90 catches and he'll probably get close to 10 touchdowns. I'm thinking.
I mean, he had 7 last year already. I mean, he did have a lot of touchdowns, but he had the few in the beginning of the season, if I remember correctly.
But also remember, they don't have Hooper. So while Hurst is there and he has the opportunity to get some of that target share, I also think that with Hooper going out, some of that target share is going to Calvin Ridley. You don't trade up for a guy like this like they did in the draft to pair him with Julio Jones and not when they hit wide 3 when most wide receivers start to hit their full stride and start to make that left level or that next step into their prime. You don't shy targets away from this guy. You get him the ball, and I think that's the kind of season we're going to see from Calvin Ridley. I think he's going in most leagues probably around like anywhere from like the 15th to like the 25th wide receiver off the board.
Right.
And I think this guy has top 10 potential.
I don't think there's much to say with Ridley. Like we thought what he was 2 years ago. People didn't draft him. You know what I mean? Like But we have been waiting. We have been
25.
waiting. We have been waiting for that breakout season. What you're telling the people watching is basically you are now going to get a little, miniature or somewhat of a Mike Evans type wide receiver. And
Top
again,
10.
that is big
Top 10.
compliment in saying Ridley is going to be that again. So people watching out there, that's a big nugget that Steve's saying in there is basically you're going to get a Mike Evans in a later round, and if you have that in your team, your team is looking good.
A guy who is very much like that, or a better reference maybe, he's this year's Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin was going in the 4th, 5th round last year, and he finished as the number 2 wide receiver in the game.
Right, and
he had Mike Evans on that team. Julio Jones is still there. He's not going anywhere. But I think this is now when we start to see the transition a little bit to Calvin Ridley. I'm definitely buying the hype on Ridley.
Ridley, okay.
And then who do you have at 4? It looks like you have a running back from the 49ers.
I do.
So many running backs. Who'd you take?
I can't even pronounce it. Raheem Mostert?
Mostert.
Mostert, I'm sorry. Raheem, though. I'm going to call him Raheem, from like the guy from Juice. Raheem, he showed last year what he could do when given the ball. Mm-hmm. He really came out towards the end of the season. I picked him up in another league that really helped me win a few weeks down. He had some really big games. Mm-hmm. He did have competition. He's still going to have some competition. I think they still have McKinnon there, right?
Yep, and they have Coleman.
And Coleman, right? So they got Coleman, McKinnon. So he still has competition, but I think he's shown enough. I think San Francisco's seen enough. They played him in the playoffs. They like what they saw, and they're going to start playing him more, which means to me just better fantasy numbers overall. I'm not saying he's going to be this top 5 running back or anything like that, but he's going to, if you get him in the later round and you're, the running backs are running low and you get him, you're probably getting a steal at that round if you do.
And to that effect, I will say this. I do see Mostert is a pretty trendy pick for like insiders and experts, just because we all think that more than likely he's going to end up being the lead back with the 49ers. If the flashes of what he's shown last year are real and he becomes the lead back for the 49ers, you're looking at a top 10 running back.
Yeah. I mean, again, we're
talking about two things happen. He has to play like he did last year, and he needs to take over the number 1 running back role to get the volume. But if those two things happen, you're looking at a top 10 running back.
San Francisco can't forget about him.
Yep. And they run a lot in San Francisco. They're a run-heavy team. Some halves we saw Jimmy G not throw the ball because they just ran it. So this is a good.
But that also hurts because they do have 2 other running backs that are capable. It's not like McKinnon is a scrub, and it's not like Coleman is a scrub. Like
I was saying, if he plays like he played last year, and he begins to pull away and take that number 1 role, which he very well could by week 4 or 5, we could be looking at him as the unequivocal starter because he's outperforming McKinnon, who's been out with injuries for the last 2 years, hasn't played, and Coleman is an injury-prone kid as well. Looking at this guy has that potential. So when you're getting him in these later rounds, these are the kind of players that you have to be targeting because guess what? If all things go wrong, he's a solid player. If everything goes right, he's a top 10 player.
These are the picks that guys viewing out there could change your whole team.
Yep.
And it could be either where, you feel like maybe you didn't draft as well at the beginning, but you get someone like him. It could change the dynamic of your whole other team because then you can start switching around, maybe putting other players there, reaching for other players. Again, a pick like this is not something that you're going to see in this 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th round. But this is a deeper pick where, again, something like this changes your whole team around.
Yep. And he's starting to climb up board. So he's someone that you're going to have to monitor. And if you're without running backs, you may want to grab him maybe a round or 2 early just because, once the running backs are gone, the top shelf guys, you're just throwing darts. And he's a good dart to throw. But for me,
who's your 4th?
Number 4, I have another wide receiver and another guy like Calvin Ridley, where I believe that they're going in the upper part of drafts, but he's like I want to say anywhere in between again this 15 to 25 wide receiver range where we're seeing a glut of guys, and that's DK Metcalf.
Right.
DK Metcalf last year, he outperformed everything that I could have imagined. Especially after he slipped in the drafts, I started to feel like, okay, maybe there's something that I'm not seeing here. He's a workout warrior. He seems like he's really focused on his craft. He seems like he wants to be great, but all these executives passed on him. Am I missing something? But then he ended up with Seattle. We know Seattle has a great eye for talent. Then you start to see him play with the Russell Wilson. You start seeing him and Russell Wilson start having chemistry. And you start going, whoa, this could be serious. And then you saw the playoffs. And in the playoffs, DK stepped onto the scene as a number 1 wide receiver. He stepped on the scene as, I am a big boy in the big boys league. Give me my ball.
Yep.
And if he's going to play like that this season, he's going to eclipse Lockett as the number 1 receiver. He's going behind Lockett in drafts right now.
That to me is kind of crazy because, look, you know from last year in your league, I drafted DJ. I can't tell you here that, I expected what happened last year because I didn't. I put him in my lineup thinking, okay, hopefully he does something. Then he started balling. He stayed in my lineup, right? But I told you even before, and guys, this is some of the things that we're telling you out there is if you read up, and it doesn't always just have to be analytics and numbers, but, I told Steve last year, I read up an article about him and how he practiced and how when he fell, remember I told you.
Let's add something to what you're saying there. I was reading that him and Russell Wilson got together this offseason and we're practicing together and was working together even more. To me, with the way Russell Wilson breaks out of the pocket and throw those balls, and I heard DK Metcalf saying once he got with Russell, I studied how Russell breaks out. I see where he looks the ball. I see where he tries to get the ball. And this guy's a freestyle, big guy with speed. Yo, he threw the big plays already. And getting better and more in cohesion. You're looking at a guy that could be, I'm going to say another guy that could be a top 10 wide receiver this year, putting up Mike Evans numbers. I'm going to make the same comparison.
Same comparison. Everyone's going to put Mike Evans numbers on.
Only these two guys. Only these two.
But, no, like I said, last year I told you that was one of the things I saw, the work ethic he put in, how he said he was going to be, not just, a big guy who just jumped there. He could run routes. Wilson was impressed with him. The coach was impressed with him. Everyone's been impressed with him since he stepped on the field. So, again, I totally see what you're talking about. Again, last year I drafted him but did not know. This year, people should be aware. You guys watching out there should be aware, hey, this guy's a guy you should target. If people are going to overlook him, then fine, let them, but don't let him pass you by.
This is the guy that because he has a reputation or a name, you're either going to see one of two things in your league. You're going to see players that are going and gunning for him because he has that name and that reputation, or you're going to see players fading him because he has that reputation. They don't think he's going to be that good, or they don't think he's that great because he slipped. And that's where you pick up. That's where you start making your money. You get guys that people let slip, even though they're going to be getting more volume than they did last year, because everyone thinks that what they did last year is what they're going to do this year, and that's never the case.
That's never the case, no.
Yep. And number 5, who are you looking at? It looks like a deep sleeper here.
Yeah, so this is, to me, a sleeper. Again, I'm a little biased, but I do really believe if you look at his numbers, this is a guy from the Jets guy. His name is Perriman, the receiver. Jets don't have anyone. Let's be honest. As a Jet fan, hate to say it, they don't have anyone. He's going to be a wide receiver number 1. I'm just telling everyone now, that is what's going to happen here with the Jets. He is the number 1 wide receiver. He's going to be that. Again, he played same thing with what happened with Hurst, playing behind Andrews. He played behind just Mike Evans and Godwin. So, where are you going to get your catches from, right? Really? But he still played well. But as soon as they were hurt, or unfortunately they were sidelined, it says right here, he had the final 5 games. He had 37 targets, 25 catches, 506 yards, 5 touchdowns. So besides that, I think they said Brown, he outscored everyone, even Michael Thomas. So the final 5 games, he showed you when he's a number 1 what he could do, and that's what he's going to be with the Jets. There is no one there. I like the tight end, but there's no one there, Steve.
You would take him over Crowder, or you think Crowder's nobody?
No, I don't. I think Crowder is not going to stop Perriman from being the number 1.
And what about Mims, the rookie that they have?
Again, he's a rookie. I'm not stop putting him as number 1 wide receiver.
So you think that
not doing that?
You think that they're gonna put him as the number 1 wide receiver to start the season?
I think he's gonna take over that spot. Yeah, just in whether it's organically or they already know. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if they know already, but organically, he's just gonna take over. He's gonna get the catches. He's gonna show what he did those final 5 games. Hey, give me the ball. You know, I was behind these 2 great, amazing wide receivers that were.
Perriman's been a journeyman throughout his career. He's always had upside, but he's never been able to stick. So, I mean, hopefully he finally finds his spot. Like you said, with the Jets, there's a ton of volume to be had. It's going to be a bad defense that's going to be behind in a lot of games. Not only did you have C.J. Mosley come out, you traded away Jamal Adams. So it's going to be really interesting to see
Thank God we traded Jamal Adams. Thank God.
It'll be interesting. That's a whole nother story, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Jets, knowing that their defense isn't.
And we came up in that trade. Come on, we.
No, you guys did good in that trade. I think the Seahawks did good. I think that's a win-win trade because the Seahawks are in their window.
Yeah, the Seahawks are trying to win now.
And the cool thing about it is that Adams didn't force wanting the extra money when he got traded, so it allows them to keep the cap as it is and make sure that you can get Russell Wilson everything he needs to go for a chip this year, because there's no reason that you can't see Seattle beating the 49ers and being the NFC champions to face whoever is coming out of the AFC for a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but that's a whole different story. Who's your number 5?
Yeah. Number 5, I mean, I'm also going to go with the New York guy, with the Homer guy. But the difference is I saw Daniel Jones last year put up 4 games of 28 points or more, which is tied for the 3rd highest in the league. Okay. We saw that after week 9 last year, Daniel Jones was a different quarterback putting up big boy numbers. Last year, Daniel Jones at no point had Evan Ingram, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, Golden Tate, and Saquon Barkley on the field at the same time. This leads me to believe Daniel Jones is primed to go from being a guy that is drafted at the end of the quarterback run, going around, anywhere from 8 to 15, and he's going to finish in the top 10 for sure. Some people that take him at 8, there's some people that are starting to reach on him because he runs, he has the ability to have some good weapons. They have a bad defense. That means he's going to get a lot of volume, which makes a difference in fantasy sports. Let's be real. It's not necessarily how good you are in fantasy sports that makes a difference. It's how much volume you will get.
So again, the viewers, everyone watching, Daniel Jones, fantasy sport wise, he did really well last year. I get where Steve is coming from this angle. I do believe he can be top 10 quarterback. Yeah, I'm
not going to be bashed. I think he can be definitely top 5. I think
I don't know about top 5.
He runs more than a lot of other guys. He gets goal line carries. If he cuts his turnovers down,
I still believe in the sophomore slump. I still believe that I got to see now with defenses, knowing everything that he's doing. I
would say he'd finish somewhere between 5 and 12. Somewhere there.
We're picking him, or at the end of because 5 and 12 is a big gap.
At the end of the season, he's going to be
you can't say 5 and 12.
Yeah, because at worst,
Steve. No, that's 7 spots.
Yes, at worst, he's going to be 12. At best, he's probably going to be about.
Yeah, but that's if you think at some point he's 5 and he's at 12, that means he did not do anything what you thought he was going to do. Because if you have him at possible at number 5, but he ends up being the top 12 quarterback,
because you have to have a ceiling and a floor. If he has a bad year and things don't go right, he's going to finish at 12. He'll still be even in a bad year. He's still a top 12 quarterback, is what I'm saying.
I get it, but
if he has a shitty year, he's top 12.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is, if you're going to say Jared Darrell is a must own, you can't say he's going to be a 12 quarterback. 12 quarterback is not a must own. That's not.
If you're in a 12-team league, right? Who are you playing at quarterback? He's a starter. He's a QB1.
Okay, but you just said it here. So your top 12 league, 12 teams, you're gonna choose 12 quarterbacks. You're bound to hit one.
So in most leagues, he's going like some leagues will go undrafted. Some leagues,
I get it. I'm just saying. top 5 and 12 is a big discrepancy. From your talking fantasy league, a top 5 quarterback number is a huge discrepancy to a 12. It's not even close. If you got Patrick Mahomes,
that's the same thing what you're saying about Mostert. Mostert's floor is like the 25th running back. His ceiling is a top 10 running back.
But I'm not thinking that this season. I'm telling you. I told you he was a top 10, 12. I never said he's going to be a top 5. I even said he's not going to be a top 5 running back.
Right.
I see him being a top 10, 11, 12. A small discrepancy is 10 to 12, not 5 to 12.
But no, you're saying that Mostert's going to be a 10, 12 no matter what? Because
that's what I'm saying. A must own. I'm telling you, I'm not telling people to get him because I think he could be a 5, but he ends up being a 12. No, I'm telling you what he's going to be.
And I'm being real with the people. I'm setting the expectation.
No, I get it, but I'm just saying when he's
going to be a 5, right. At his worst, he won't be lower than 12. He won't be lower.
I just want viewers to know, and the discussion that me and Steve are having is basically when I say he's going to be a 10 or 12, you're like, oh, well, why do I want a top 10, top 12 running back? Listen, guys out there, you're not going to get those top 5 running backs. You're not going to get those even 6, 7 top running backs. They're very few in between. Unless you're doing 8-team leagues, you're not going to do that. Most people are doing 10. Most people really are doing 12. Some even 14 that Steve does.
Yep.
So again, you're limited to what you're going to have.
Right.
It's true what Steve is saying. If you have a 12, if Daniel Jones is a top 12 quarterback, you have him. He's going to help your team. Yep. All I'm saying to Steve is it's a discrepancy from 5 to 12. And so when I tell you people Mozart, I'm not telling you guys 5 because forget about that. I don't think that's going to happen.
Right.
So I'm telling everyone, hey, he could be a top 10 running back, 11 or 12. Mm-hmm. Hey, if you get that for your fantasy and you drafted him late, that is a fine. Mm-hmm. People have to remember that out there.
I think he's going to be top 10. But what I was framing it as this: at his very worst, if things are as bad as it gets, he will still be a top 12 quarterback.
Okay. So I get what you're saying though.
And then at his very best, he's going to be like the top 5.
Top 5.
Yeah.
Right. No, to me, Danny Jones' best this year is going to be a top 10 quarterback. I don't think he's not going to be a top 10 quarterback.
Yep. And that's one thing. But
I'm looking at more at the end part of 8, 9, 10. That's what I'm looking.
So now here's the question.
I don't think his ceiling is 5. I think he's 8 or 9.
I think because of how bad the Giants are on defense.
If he's number 8, I think that's really, really great for Daniel.
No, I think that's low. He was tied for the 3rd most of 28 points. He's the scorer. The problem, the main reason why is because the Giants' defense is so bad that he has to throw the ball. So that's one thing that gives him the shot to do it.
I said, to me, it's more football, just softball.
Okay, so let's put it like this: Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Carson Wentz. You think you're taking Jones above or below these guys?
The guys you mentioned. So let's say the quarterbacks we're going to take. You're taking Patrick Mahomes. You're taking Dak. To me, I'm taking Aaron Rodgers. To me, I'm taking Drew Brees probably.
You would take Drew Brees?
I think I'd take Drew Brees.
I'm Taysom Hill is just ugh.
Yeah, it kills, but I still might take Drew Brees over him.
I couldn't do it.
Who else did you say? Brady? I'm choosing Brady over Daniel Jones.
Mm-hmm. Carson Wentz?
That is the only one that I can't tell you that I'm definitely going to take over.
Matt Ryan?
I'd probably take Matt Ryan over Daniel Jones. Yeah.
See, to me, Matt Ryan just doesn't run enough.
Yeah, their offensive line got better.
He doesn't run. He's not a runner.
I get that, but
Jones last year ran for 5.
Think about what you're saying because you said you're going to have Ridley. You're talking about 1,200 with him, 10 touchdowns. That means Julio Jones is still getting what? Like that if you're saying 10 touchdowns for Ridley for Matt Ryan alone, you're talking about Matt Ryan possibly having a good 30 touchdown season. Did
you know that last year Daniel Jones finished 7th in rushing for quarterbacks with 279 rush.
That's
why I think that's why I take him over these other guys.
But I just don't trust his consistency. I don't trust that he's going to play well. I trust that he's going to fumble the ball, or he's not going to get the yardage or throw well.
The fumbles are a problem. Yes, I know he worked on it, but let's put it in this context. Last year, Daniel Jones threw for 24 touchdowns and had 12 interceptions. Okay. Last year, just for context, Daniel Jones scored 226 and Matt Ryan scored 281. So we're talking about
that Matt Ryan wasn't even a good season for him last year.
That's like 60 points. What happened?
That wasn't even a great season for Matt Ryan last year.
Oh my God. Well, no. He started great. He ended like shit.
So I'm saying it wasn't a good season for Matt Ryan. He still get him 60 more points. And to me, he's going to be better than what he was last year.
Last year,
Matt Ryan's going to be better than what he was last year. To me, he's going to be better.
This is my favorite. Last year, Matt Ryan had 26 touchdowns to 14 picks. In less games, Daniel Jones had 24 touchdowns to 12 picks. And he has the extra rushing yards. If he solves his fumbling,
again, I got to see. To me, there's that sophomore slump. I got to see the consistency of every game in and out before I start choosing him over Matt Ryan. I believe, again, Matt Ryan's on the down year.
I think for me, I wouldn't take Jones over Matt Ryan, but I would let Matt Ryan slide so I can take Jones. And personally, I am stacking quarterbacks, so I would take like a stack of Jones and Tannehill if I was to take a Jones. So I would have another guy that I think that has that high upside at quarterback. Right. So in case he goes, like a favorite stack idea that I have is Jones and Cam Newton, where I have one of these two guys that are going to pop off. I mean, one of them two should hit. So that's the way I'm looking at it if I'm skipping on the top quarterbacks early. Obviously, rushing quarterbacks we know are great for fantasy. That makes the big difference. But there's
I'm choosing Kyle Murray over Daniel Jones, I think.
Well, Kyle Murray is going in like the fifth, sixth round.
To me, like I said, he's going to end up in number 10.
Yeah, I think
Daniel Jones is a top 10 quarterback. That's
because of volume. That's the number one thing people got to remember. His volume is going to be high, and that's the best thing about him. But I'm very excited about this episode because I think we provided a lot of value to the guys out there. We went over 10 guys, and we spoke about some other guys around them that could really be big and beneficial in your seasons. I just want you guys to know that one of the main things that we want to focus here at the Daily Sporting on is making sure that we get you guys the information needed to win your leagues, give you the strategies, the insights in order to get these things done. Between me, Ricky, and all the other guys that we have on here, we're multiple-time champions in multiple different leagues, playing multiple different formats. So, if you have any questions, let us know, and we'll definitely help you out, whether it's a draft question when you're debating players or a trade question where you don't know who to get. You were saying something, Ricky?
No, and it's just not all about number, guys. You got to know some type of strategy, who you're going to pick where. Some guys are better there that you think, oh, this guy's better, but you don't really need him in that. You need to fill a better position because it's not just about stacking one position because you can only play so much. I'm sure everyone has a certain amount. So it's all about that. Give us, drop us a line. Let us know. Share this. And we'll talk to you guys later and talk about more players that are coming up.
Absolutely. And guys, just make sure you give us a like and a share and subscribe to the channel so we can keep providing you with the content that you guys need to win your league and make sure that you guys are prepared as possible for the season that we're going into. I want to thank you for spending your time with us. And Daily Sporting is saying peace.